Hi and welcome to another session from Blender Insight. This time about collection and layers. Layers is something that you used before in Blender 2.79, or at least it was there. And collection, that is something new. Something that popped up in 2.8. I will show you how to use collection and how to use layers and how to combine them to do good things. And to do that, we need some type of scene, so I will provide something very easily here. So we start with taking away the cube, pressing X, delete, and instead put in a UV sphere. So press Shift A, and then select Mesh, and here you have the UV sphere. And I will also do subdivision on that to make it smoother. So I go to Modifier here, Add Modifier, and in Add Modifier you will find Subdivision Surface. So I select that one, and I will also take up my Viewport 2.2 to see exactly the thing I see in render. And since we're working with rather few polygons, it doesn't matter even if you have a weak computer. Then I go to Object and I do some smoothing, so Shade Smooth. Now I have a really smooth surface here, and that is on purpose because I would like to play a little with reflections later on. Next thing I will do is a copy of this one. So I just press Shift D and Enter. So now I have a copy, and I will make the copy a little bit smaller and move it out. So I go to Edit Mode by pressing Tab. And since I will make this smaller, I would like to see it, and right now I have the other object in way. So to make it visible, I press this Show X right here, and now you have some transparency. So I can just press S for scale, and you can see now it's going inside here. I can make it rather small, and then I just move it out. So GY, just a little bit like that. Okay, now I go back to Object Mode. And my purpose for this one is to make an array of small spheres going around this to make reflection on the big sphere. So the first thing I will do is rename that one and that one, so we know what object is what here. So I start here, and here I write array of spheres, and then I select the big one and call that, I don't know, center sphere. Now we know that this one is array of spheres and this one is center sphere. Okay, let's go to array of spheres and we add a modifier, so select, and here we will find array. Since this is the origin or the thing I will orbit around, I will select that, so I take away relative offset. And I select Object Offset, and using this little thing here, I can just point at my center sphere, and you will see that it says center sphere here. Then I change my count to, I don't know, like 16 or something. It doesn't matter, it's just to get reflections. And nothing happens because we have not changed the transformation for the center sphere, so I select the big one here and go to the object here for transformation and do some rotation. Since it's a sphere, it doesn't matter. So I just change the Z-axis a bit, and now you can get the transformation around here. And since you can see the balls around that, means that I have not disabled this X-ray, so I do that. Looks nicer. And I can also do some rotation on Y and Z-axis to make it, I don't know, more science fiction or whatever. And then just some fine-tuning, and it's okay like that. Then I will do a plane as well, so we have a reflection on that plane. So I just press Shift A again, and here I use Mesh and Plane, and I scale that up. So I just press S and 20, so we have a really big plane. And I go to Object, Apply, the Scale. And then I just move it down, so G set. So doesn't matter so much. Yeah, so we have some shadows and reflection on that one. And if I now press a render view here, you can see this is how it looks. I can even take down the floor. No, I keep it there. Okay, so now I have the floor, the plane. I have the small spheres, the big sphere, and some shadows and so on. Now we'll add some material on everything. So I press the material tab here, and now I have the plane selected, as you can see. So I select new, make it, I don't know, like blue. And to make it reflective, I make it to metallic, and I take down the roughness, and now I see the reflection in the floor. You can see it here. And I can decide if I want it perfect or have it a little bit blurred like this. So could be good like that. Okay. Then I do the same thing with the small spheres. So I select those, just press new here, can make those red or something, and take metallic up, take the roughness down. So we have something like that, and then we do the same with the centerpiece here. So I just select it, new, another color, and metallic, and roughness down. And now you can clearly see the small spheres inside the big sphere here. And also a lot of fireflies, but that is not something that I will handle in this session here. It's mainly about collection and layers, so we will concentrate on that. If I now press F12 to do a render, just to see how it looks, then you can see that I get this big sphere here. I get all the reflections from the small spheres here. I get a reflection from the small sphere here, and I get a reflection here. Okay, now I will ask you a trick question, or something for you to think about, and that is, if I would like to keep the reflection, but I would like to remove the small objects here. I would like to see them here, I would like to see them there, like in a mirror, but I would not like to see the object itself. How would I do that in 2.8? That is what I'm going to show you now. So I go to 3D viewport, and now it's time to learn a little bit about collections. You can group a lot of objects into collection, it's just to drag them, but you can do a little bit more. So I select scene collection here, and then I press this box upside here, and then I get a new collection inside that collection. So if I stand here and press that box, it will be a collection inside this one. Now I don't need that one, so I just select it and press X to take it away. But I will use this one, and I will name it to array of spheres. And in this case I only use one object in that collection, but that is okay. And the object I will use is array of spheres, of course. So I just drag it down here, and now it's inside. Nothing happens, but if I just press this little button here, it will go away, and if I render, it will not be there. No reflection, no object, nothing. It's gone. In the viewport, you can do some similar thing where you select the eye instead here. Looks the same, but when you do the render, you have all the objects and all the reflections. So what we would like to have is something between. We would like to, have the reflection, take away the small things here. So I go to 3D viewport again, and this time I turn my eye on. I have my array of spheres. I would like to keep the reflection, so I right click and get the menu on the collection. And here I can see something called layer, and layer is something that we know about since older versions, so we can start working with them. And in this one you have something called set indirect only, and that will do that the first direct array on the object will disappear, and we will only catch light and shadows if we use that, which will be perfect for the task I was asking about. So I press set indirect only, and now you can see that we still can select those, but they are invisible. But the reflection remains, and if I press F12 to do my render, you can see it's exactly the same as in my view layer here, that the object is hidden, but the reflection remains. Okay? And then the next question I would ask is, okay, now I would like to do something really, really good. I would like to have another color on the small objects and still red reflections and so on. Can you do that as well? Yes, I can. I can do that very, very easily. So we do that by, first of all, we can take these back again. So array of spheres, right click, view layer, and then clear indirect only, and then you have them back again. And the other thing you can do is that you can remove them completely from the render and instead using so you have like a see-through. And then you use array of sphere again, view layers, and in this case you use set holdout, and then they disappear. They are black here, but that is because you are not using a transparent background that you should use when you render. So go up here to the second one, go to film, and in here you have transparent, and now you see you have the alpha channel behind, so they are away. Okay, but we said that we would like to have them but in another color. So how this doesn't fix it, or does it? Well, in this case, you really need a new layer. So I am in my 3D viewport. I have my array of spheres, and this is a good starting point because you have the reflection, and it's red. You have the big, you have everything. The only thing you don't have is the spheres outside that you would like to have in another color. So we will create a new layer and put those in that layer, and only those. So I then go up here, and then I press this little button here, and then I get the new layer, and I can call it, guess what, array of spheres will be my new layer. So now I have view layer, which is my main layer, and I have the array of spheres. You can see now in the array of spheres I can see everything, and in my view layer I can't see the objects. So my thing now is that I go to array of spheres, and I will try to erase everything except these spheres outside here. So to do that I can just select the collection here, but then you can see the light and everything goes away as well. Not good. So we need to have another collection. So we do a new collection here, select that one, and the box here, and call this, I don't know, sphere, or center sphere, center sphere maybe, center sphere. Sorry, my Swedish came there as well. Center sphere, so we take the center sphere here, drag it down here, and now I have this, and I can turn it off like that. I also would like to have my plane away. I could write center sphere and plane, or I can just drag it down here, it doesn't matter. Now I have two things here, so if I take that away, I only have what I should have, my array of spheres here. So I take that away, array of spheres looks like that, and my view layer now looks like this, because we still have that checked in the view layer. So if I now press render, F12, I will get two images. I will get one image using the first view layer, and then I will get another render here that is my next, and I can select view layer here, or I can select array of spheres here. Now the thing is to combine them. And to combine them I need to use the compositing. So I go to compositing here, and I can change this to be an image editor, and here I can set the render result so we can see how it looks. Take it up a bit. Now it's time for combining. So I select use nodes here in compositing, and here you can see it says render layers, and in the bottom it says view layer. Okay, so what we need here is two layers. So we take a copy of this one, Shift D, and then I need to combine them. So Shift A, in color you have something called alpha over, so we can put it in here, and then I can put this in here, but nothing happens. Well, we need to change the view layer here as well, so I change that to array of spheres, and now we get everything. And you think, oh, that's not, but why did you use 2 layers? It's exactly the same as before. Well, now I can manipulate this layer as I want to without changing anything on that layer, because I can put in what I want to here. So if I go into color, and let's say I will change the color as I said before, well, then I can just go into put in like hue saturation value here and change the hue a bit. And now you can see I can get like green or whatever on that part and still have red here. And I can of course put in whatever I want to blur or yeah, everything. So it's just for me to do more. So I can just use filter, like glare into that one, put it in here, and then you can see that I get the glare as well. Only on this part here, no glare here, just on these. So that means that I can create an enormous amount of layers and put them in here and do a lot of things on each layer and combining them using whatever I want to. And I can also control everything using my alpha here. So if I put that in here, you can see that now it's only working exactly on the alpha layer, but if I just say that just combine everything, then you combine it and you cannot see exactly where the borders go between alpha and so on. You can also, if you want to, control it a little bit more using, I can show you Shift A, and here you will have in, see if I can find it, dilate, erode. If I put that in and I take the alpha here as a mask and put that into alpha, you can see it cuts out exactly as it did before. But I now select something like feather and distance. I can select how much of this should be spread out on the other areas. You can see it's growing now, and I can make the fade really hard here so you can see the difference. So if I doesn't use it or use it very little feather, then it takes only the alpha, but if I take it up here, you can get it, yeah, as high as you want. I think it's the maximum is 100, but you get my point how you can work with it. So that is an introduction to working with collection and layers. And you can do a lot of things in layers, because if you look at layers right now here, you can see right now we go a little bit closer here, you can see. Yeah, you now have image, you have alpha, you have depth. That is what is in your render layer. But in the layer here, properties, you can select so much information on each image that you can play with in the compositor. So you can add, using the mist, you can add a lot of denoising data to use the noise, and then do some math on the denoise afterwards if you want to do it better or whatever, because you have the noise image and you have the denoised image, and you can combine them using things in here to see the variance between them and so on, what depth did we use and so on. You can also get where do we get the emission from, the light from emission environment. We can get the shadow pass, which is very, very useful to control if we want to shadow inside and so on. So you have a lot of things, and I will not go through them in this tutorial. I will just tell you that layers are really, really powerful things where you use them together with the compositor to manipulate the image, and where you can get a lot of information into every layer. You can also, if you want to do some just some quick check on your thing here, and you don't want to render every layer, then you just select the layer you're looking at, like this one, and then just select render single layer here. And if you do that and press F12, then it's just that layer that will be rendered. So that means that when you're working with, that is because the compositor is using the old that I got that result, but it's rendered only one. So that means in a case where you have a very complex scene, a lot of forest, a lot of trees in a forest in the background, a lot of stones, particles, whatever, that makes it very, very complex. But then in the foreground you might have like an animal or deer or whatever, and you just want to change something. Then you just want to render the deer. You don't want to render everything else. Then just select render single layer, and it will only render the deer, and you can then composite it as I did above here with the older renders you have done. So that means that your speed when working with something, the workflow, will be much, much faster if you're using the collections and the layers in a good way, because you can separate everything. You can separate what you want to see, what you want to render, what you want to work with in the viewport, and so on. And that is very, very powerful to get a very fast workflow, and also to handle complex scene in weak machines. Okay, so that was the basic about compositing, and about layers, and about collections. So hope you learned something this time as well, and don't forget, subscribe to get some new information when I have my next tutorial out. Okay, bye and see you later.